this month's Talks hour. So before we start this month's BOMA Talks, if everyone could please turn off their cameras and mute yourselves, that would be greatly appreciated.
Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to BOMA Talks. This is an hourly, monthly series where we get the chance to learn about and learn from fellow BOMA Metro Detroit members. It's a special series that helps us grow our network of colleagues and helps us build lasting relationships. My name is Rick Troy, and I happen to be the executive director here at BOMA Metro Detroit. And
my name is Susan Light, and I am the business development manager at Garter World Security Services. And as co-chairs of BOMA, oh, it's going to be one of those days, as co-chairs of BOMA Metro Detroit's Communication Committee, we will be your BOMA Talk host for today. BOMA Talks is part of the sponsor partner program. That is a tongue twister, and we want to give a special thanks to our cornerstone sponsor, Spartan Paving, and our supporting sponsor, Balfour USA. We would like to give a huge thank you to all of our members for joining us today. So let's get this started.
Yeah, and so this month we've got the privilege to introduce to you four members. One of them are one of our newest members, and we're going to get to them in a minute. But by way of introduction, we've got Joe Mifsud of Oxford Companies, Mary Ann Dieters with Metro Signs and Lighting, Mark Reinhardt's coming to us from S&K Building Services, and we have Andy Keller and Jeremy Locklear with Kings 3. So let's get started with our first guest, Joe Mifsud. Joe, please appear before the audience. There we are.
Hi.
Joe, you're the president of Oxford Companies, and collectively your company is managing more than 2.5 million square feet of commercial property and over 130 residential properties. Can you share with us the Oxford story?
Yeah, the Oxford story started 1993. Our owner, Jeff Hauptman, was a young man, make me say, and had his eyes on Ann Arbor real estate, and he grew up in the town, a townie, as he'd call himself. And a few years later, after he was introduced to the property Galleria in downtown Ann Arbor, he bought it. And it just evolved from there. It's been his vision that he's been executing for nearly 30 years here in Ann Arbor.
Wow.
So does the company, I'm assuming, expands beyond Ann Arbor in Washtenaw County? Would I be correct in that?
No, we did for a short time. We had some properties outside of Ann Arbor.
Okay.
But we, maybe 5 years ago or so, decided to bring it back to an Ann Arbor focused company. We created a vision for what we wanted, particularly the south side of Ann Arbor, to look like in the next 5, 10, 15, 20 years. And we have all here been focused on that journey ever since, really trying to bring new excitement to the city of Ann Arbor by creating a new downtown, if you will, environment to the south side. And when I say south side, I mean State Street, Eisenhower, or State and 94, probably people are more familiar with, area of town. So we've got some development plans, which is a new venture for us. We only have managed our assets. We've never built. So we are going to be starting that journey very shortly, hopefully within the next 9 months, breaking ground on a mixed-use development here on the south side.
Fascinating. How many employees on average do you have on any given day?
We have 101 employees currently.
101, not just
101.
100. We're going 101. Love it. Joe, how was it that you personally became involved in the commercial real estate industry?
Yeah, so I, like a lot of people that work in property management, I'm not great at anything, really. I'm okay. I'm good at a wide number of things. Um, and I find that is sort of the ingredient that works in this role. So I started in 2001. It was actually shortly after 9/11. Didn't know what I wanted to do. I had just been out of college, was working as a intern with a marketing company for GM, and we were working on Oldsmobile. Um, so dating myself a little bit there, but that that
We had
brand
a
was
governor that loved to drive those back in the day.
oh yeah, boats on wheels. Um, but that job went away. I had no idea what I wanted to do. I had a conversation with my aunt who lived in Georgia. She said, "Why don't you get involved with property management?" I'm like, "I don't know what that is. What does that mean?" So she said, call an apartment community, see if they're hiring. So I opened literally the yellow pages, 2 apartments. And the first one on the list was Arbors of West Bloomfield. I called them and said, "Hey, are you guys hiring?" And they said, "Yeah, how quickly can you get here for an interview?" I was there, got hired that day, and that started a almost 10-year career at Sing. And then from there, I went to Friedman. Was at Friedman for 6, 7 years ish, and now have been at Oxford for almost 8.
Fascinating. So a couple things there, Oldsmobile and Yellow Pages. You might have to have a little training with your crew that I know is watching BOMA Talks here today about what those 2 things are.
Yes, I definitely will. Maybe with the exception of one person.
So what was your most interesting day on the job in this whole career so far?
That is a very difficult question. The word interesting is what I'm getting tripped up with. Toward the end of my time, and this is not a happy story, but toward the end of my time at Sing, we had a quadruple homicide in one of our units in Novi. A father killed his 3 kids and wife. It was awful, horrible, and something that I hate thinking back on. But when it comes to again this job, this world of property management, you never know what you're going to walk into in a given day. You have to experience things in order to learn them. They're not things that you have training for. But you learn more. I can't imagine being where in the job I am today had I not had those experiences and actually learn from them when it comes to communicating in terms of having the right people around you. I would say everybody on my team, with the exception again of a few, are much smarter than I am. And having those people around you and trusting their judgment has made all the difference.
We like to ask that question to all of our guests, and it is every answer is unique. So you're right. There's just no way to prepare for some of the things that we all come across in this industry. Is there a particular issue that concerns you at this point in time regarding the commercial real estate industry?
Yes, it is. It's something that we've been concerned about for a long time, which is work from home. And we could take this conversation on for hours, what is it doing to the newer generations that are coming into the workforce? What kind of expectations did it lay out for them as to how collaboration works, how they're able to learn in their roles? But the simple fact of getting people back in the office, and where you can, redeveloping or rethinking how we use our space. But yeah, that's what has kept us up, is how do we get people back into the offices? Yes, it's seen as a selfish thing because, of course, we own and manage commercial office space, so we want people in offices. But I think it's no secret, the farther we go in this post-COVID world, the more information that's coming out, the more studies that are coming out, that work from home doesn't work. Flexibility works. Understanding what your individual employees' needs are works, and working with them on that works. But there's nothing like person-to-person collaboration and the resources that you have at your fingertips when your team is around you. So that's what concerns us.
I thought you'd go a little bit in a different direction with interest rates, but I think you nailed it. And just for a point of reference, we are talking today on August 21 of 2024. This is not 2020. It would have been an interesting conversation to talk about work from home in 2019 and have a comparative and contrastive discussion, but perhaps we'll do that another time. Joe, as we wrap up, is there anything else you'd like to share?
No, just thank you for inviting me. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to talk about Oxford and what we're doing here. It's going to be an exciting next few years, and thank you to BOMA for having this, and I look forward to listening to the rest of the guests.
And Joe, on behalf of the BOMA membership and the BOMA Board of Directors, of which we have our president, Bill Gilbert, here, thank you for your leadership and your dedication. Much appreciated. And so as we transition to our next guest, just a quick little advertisement. It's that time of year to save the date to elevate. That's a play on words. On Thursday, December 5 at 5 p.m., we will be hosting the annual awards and Tobies at Elevate at One Campus Martius. So a reminder for those of you who want to apply for a Toby, the due date is September 11, and all of the instructions are listed on our website, bomadet.org. Susan.
Great job filling in, Rick. I'm impressed. So next up, I would like to introduce Marianne Dieters with Metro Signs and Lighting, who is also one of our sponsor partners. So Marianne.
Good afternoon,
Hello.
Susan. Hi, Rick. How are you? Thanks for having me.
Oh, we're glad you could join us. So first of all, I would like to learn a little bit more about your company, what you do. If you could start with that, and that would be great.
Sure. So Metro Signs and Lighting, we're based in Warren, and we have a second office in Grand Rapids. we work with property managers and business owners to provide exterior signage, interior signage. Most everything we do is custom. So a new tenant is moving into a building, a new tenant moved out of the building. We can help from anything and anything to removing signs, installing signs. We fabricate here. And then we also have a lighting division, so we help maintain exterior lighting at properties, and have a nice clientele that we work with.
So that basically for if it was in a strip plaza, you could do like the big signs that light up and the flashing signs, and inside a building, do any type of signs, which
Yeah.
is fabulous. Do you also do the oh, what do you call it? Not the signs, but the like if you want to put a name on a door or something like that? Is
Sweet
that part of-
signs directory, yeah.
Yeah.
So we've done some digital directories. Everything is going digital now. So a lot of signs that we're doing right now are putting digital signs outside or inside a building, and helping, it helps with programming. But we do static, what we call static signs. We do suite signs. So we have designers here, again, that can help if somebody needs help with a design. We go through the whole permitting process with the city, make sure that what we're proposing is within the allowance. And if it's not, we, can go for a variance, that type of thing.
So what is your favorite part of doing your job?
Well, that's a great question. We love here, our passion is helping our clients brand and showcase their brand. And there's nothing better than, starting with a client who doesn't know what they want, showing them some design options, working with them on a price point, and then taking it all the way through to the end, which is, installing the sign on the building, or whether it's a banner or an electronic sign, and then having them come back after and, just being proud of what of their business and their dream, kind of the American dream, right?
Right, big flashing lights like Broadway. That's what we need, Rick. Broadway lights right here, right here.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely.
So, and how long have you been with the company?
So, my husband, Paul, is the president. He and his
Okay.
father, John, bought the company in 1996 from a third generation sign owner who owned Metro Detroit signs.
Okay.
So back in 96, we had 8 employees in one office, and now we have almost 50 and 2 offices. So
Wow, that's fabulous. So I'm interested to know, in a different way to ask, but what is, instead of saying most interesting, what is 2 scenarios? One, what is your most favorite collaboration or sign or working with someone that you had? And then what is one that you will never want to remember again? In a nice way. It was so interesting, you don't even want to think about it.
sure. From big to small, they're all fun and interesting, and we've got a great sales team here that, again, we don't consider ourselves sales as opposed to consultants, right? But way back in 2000, I think it was 9, 10, we were fortunate to be awarded the job at the Renaissance Center to put the icons on the building and all the bands that you see.
Really?
Yeah, so that was that project took us probably about a year and a half. And in the dead of winter, we had guys working 9 and 10-hour shifts on top of the roof, putting digital displays all around the Renaissance Center. So that was one of our fun and favorite projects.
So the top where the colors are, I mean,
Yeah.
were they hanging from a ledge or?
So they were on different swing stages and
Okay.
davits and such. So yeah, so that was a really, really cool project for our company. The other one that's pretty memorable is if you've ever been to Greektown Casino and you look up and you see the square cube at the top that changes colors, is we collaborated and installed that with helicopters.
Excuse me,
So
helicopters?
a helicopter. So we had a helicopter that came in from City Airport and it brought in each section and we had to land that thing. And it was a Saturday morning. We closed a bunch of streets and talk about nerve wracking, you know, because every time it would come down, if it didn't go exactly where it needed to, it was yeah, so I don't want to say I don't want to remember that because fortunately it went well, but we were holding our breaths.
Wow,
Legendary.
yeah, and when you know mentioned signs, and I mean it just what you have, what your company has done just, it exceeded what I thought. I'll be honest. Um, with that being said, so how about your family life? Tell us a little bit about yourself so we kind of get to know who you are, as a person.
Sure, great. My husband and I have been married over 30 years. We have three sons in their 20s. And my oldest son works for our business now. He's our IT and controller. So that's super exciting. And in my spare time when I'm not working, which I love to work and I love to do this type of networking, I'll talk to anybody anytime. But I like to golf and I'm kind of a foodie. I like to cook really unique foods and go to nice restaurants. So
Oh, perfect. Let me know when you're making dinner. I'll come over because I don't.
I
I
don't
don't
have
have.
time to make a lot of dinner anymore, but it's all good. So
Well, being with BOMA, can you tell me a little bit about your experience, how long you've been with BOMA? Some of your favorite things, because as you know, throughout the year we have different events, and tell us, what you love about it. Because there's nothing to hate about it. We know we all love it. So just, and Rick's laughing because yeah, Rick's laughing, but how long you've been part of BOMA and what you love about it, because we do have some newer people that are on today, and we'd like for them to hear from other people that have been here for a while.
Sure. We joined probably about 6 years ago. It might have been a little bit longer. My recommendation is to get on a committee and participate in the events. That's definitely how you get to meet people. I just love, the events, going, whether it's the folding warehouse or the golf outing, this type of thing. I just love the collaboration with everyone. We think outside the box, we try different things. We were blessed. We were the service provider of the year last year, so that was really a great honor for our company.
Congratulations.
Yeah, so I think my best advice if you're new is get on a committee and go to events. I mean, everybody's busy and everybody has limited time. You do what you can, but you only get out of it what you put into it. So, and I've made some great friends and met some great people, and we're very fortunate that we are part of this group.
Is there any favorite event or that you would highlight, the one you love the most? And we know that it's being on BOMA Talks with Rick and myself. So we know that. But besides that, is there any other one that is one of your favorite ones?
I have to say, I love, because I'm a golfer, I love to golf and I love those events. But, they're somewhat limited in terms of, your time to network. So I really like things like, whether it's the folding warehouse, or I think we did one at the shipping container, is just where everybody goes and you just, have an appetizer, a drink, and you're just networking because, I think that's where, and you just can't be afraid to go up and talk to people and introduce yourself. And,
Definitely.
we're all in business, and I think we can all help each other out. And that's the goal of this group, I think.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I know I personally have met some fabulous people. I think I've met you. Uh, yes,
Same, Susan.
yes. And I think this is a wonderful, wonderful group of people to be a part of, except for a few people like Rick and Chris. He
No, it's
always
all
gets after me. But no, I appreciate you taking the time. It is just wonderful to learn about your company. I actually had no idea. And I promise next time I'm downtown, I will look up to the sky. I'll look up and I can say, oh, I know who did that. Because that is just, I always, think sometimes you think in your head, how did they do that or who would do that? But now I've learned about your company and I am just, congratulations on those as well. But I appreciate you joining us and taking the time
Sure.
and introducing yourself and your company to everybody that's on the call right now. And I am going to go ahead to our next little intermission message. But thank you, Marianne, so much for joining us.
Thanks, Susan. Thanks, Rick.
Thanks, Marianne.
Appreciate it.
Yeah.
So we have some exciting little messages here that I'm going to get into. We still have a few spots open for our autumn golf outing at Shepherd's Hollow in Clarkston, and that's on September 23rd, and that's going to come up before you know it. So if you're interested, go ahead and register at our website, BOMA.org, to reserve your spot. And effective, and Rick, am I correct? As of what, 27 minutes ago, 37 minutes ago or so, 27 minutes ago. And this is fun. So mark your calendars. The Pull for BOMA 2 is now open for registration. So if you go to the website, you'll be able to register. It'll be held on October 18th at the Detroit Gun Club in Walled Lake. Again, go on our website, register. It was a lot of fun last year. And don't forget to do it quickly because I know that fills up pretty fast, doesn't it? Yeah.
We expect
it
to
does.
sell both out. You betcha. So sign up today.
Yes, I will be doing that once I hang up with you or click off with you. So, and on to you, Rick.
All right. So our next guest, Mark Reinhardt. Come on in, Mark. There he is. Hey, we're truly privileged to have Mark Reinhardt of S&K Building Services join us today. Mark is a relatively new member to BOMA Metro Detroit, just about a year, but he's been a longtime member of BOMA West Michigan. In his 30, I'll say 30 plus, how about that, Mark, years in the industry, Mark has witnessed and has actually presided over many of the innovations that has occurred in the window cleaning industry. Mark, welcome to BOMA Talks.
Thank you, Rick. Good to be
All right,
here.
you got a lot to share. So our audience is going to, I know because I've had some conversations with you. So please share the story of S&K Building Services and how you came to be part of it.
Okay, well, I guess I'd like to start with a plug for BOMA that over my years, I've gained a lot of business in West Michigan, building relationships with BOMA members, lots of good events and memories, and, just met a lot of people. So now that I'm doing sales in Detroit, I'm looking forward to building some of the same relationships with membership in Detroit. Back to some of my history. I started window cleaning myself, hanging from buildings back in the early 80s. And then I opened a business, failed it, and then opened another one about a year later, and it was called Award Window Cleaning Services. And I owned it for 33 years. During that time, joined the International Window Cleaning Association, became really involved I was on the board of directors for like 6 years, secretary for a year, president-elect, president, past president. I had 11 years into all of it, but it's been a really good experience. My many committees, and most interesting one was probably the ANSI committee, American National Standards Institute, where we developed our own ANSI standard. So I'm pretty well schooled in after all those years, I decided to sell my business to a larger organization. We're in like 18 states, and our big favorite one here is in Michigan, and we're in Grand Rapids, Lansing, and Detroit, and really trying to grow the Detroit market. But yeah, I for all them years, I ate, drank, and slept window cleaning. Can you imagine that? If you look behind me, it's not hard to guess what I do. Uh, that's the Amway Grand Plaza, and that was a pretty cool picture. I won a lot of uh, reward or awards for in our industry. So um, love have been doing it for a long time, and willing to help anybody with any questions that they have on window cleaning, how to be safe. I've visited over my years many manufacturing companies that manufacture the glass itself, and that kind of thing. So yeah, I'm really into what I do.
So over the years, give us a quick review of some of the technologies that you've seen come and go. I mean, most of us, you couldn't pay us enough to get on one of those, I don't even know what you call them, the elevator things.
Scaffolding, yeah.
Scaffolding, yeah. Yeah, most of us wouldn't even,
Yeah.
couldn't pay us to get on there, but it sounds as if you've seen that change over the years. I mean, tell us a
Been
story about it.
huge. First experience I had with other window cleaners was when I was working at the Amway Grand, and I seen two guys come out of a roof hatch, and they had a wood beam with an eye bolt through it, and some rope and a bucket, and so I'm, well, what the heck are these guys doing? So they throw the rope over the edge, set the beam on the edge, and guy hooks on this board thing and looks at the other guy and tells him to sit on the other end of the beam, and he got on the chair and rappelled down for a drop.
No, 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 no.
Oh yeah,
Uh,
scary. So
okay, so I think a
uh,
lot of us have had the experience of being inside the office, and all of a sudden the window washers come down. Have without disclosing any names or locations, got any interesting stories of what you may have seen or not seen?
yeah, there's quite a few things that that you see, and then there's lots of things you don't want to see. Um, I was working when we worked at a hotel. We were working on a fairly large building in Grand Rapids, and this was my first year of cleaning windows, coming down on a swing stage, and we hear some knocking, and then we hear a bunch of girls cackling inside of the. But first thing we're told is, never cup your, you're a peeking Tom when you cup your hands to the window to look in, right? So anyway, the girls, apparently it was a sorority, and they were in the hotel room, and all of a sudden, two big boobies are pressed up against the windows. What's my partner do? This.
I could be using a squeegee and squeeze.
Yeah, so it was just a cackling fun thing I'll never forget. But there's been lots of weird experiences in front of people's, windows. That's why I'd prefer to do personally commercial, because you don't see that kind of thing. Um, but yeah, there's many, on residential properties where you come down on a window and they're not really expecting you and they scatter. or you just, for me, seeing a male in the nude is not, something you want to see.
Oh
So,
my, what, I have a question. What is the tallest building that you have had to clean the windows?
36 floors, about 400 feet.
Wow.
So it's not as big as some of the big ones in Detroit, but um there's the change in all the rules over my years has just been phenomenal. Now everybody has to have certified anchor points, or they have to have inspections, and knowing that they can take the load, and our people have to be trained, and we have to prove that we can have trained them under the rules of OSHA. um, so we don't see them guys doing what they did the first time. We see a lot more people, changing their ways. And in 2017, the walking working services rules came out, and it kind of changed. We had an ANSI standard, and then OSHA took our standard and quoted it verbatim and made it their regulation. So no reason for our ANSI standard anymore. Now we got OSHA regulation that regulates, safety. There's certain things that building owners have to do, and lots of things that the window cleaners have to do. But to repel from the big buildings, you pretty much got to know the rules and comply.
Is there a
So,
certain level for those compliance issues? So in other words, is there a certain number of stories where they
Well,
come
if
into
you're
play?
repelling from a building, or if you're repelling from rope, the same rules apply.
Okay.
Okay. If you're on a boom lift, well, that's a little bit different. And you've probably seen the water fed pole system where people have water running out this big long pole and are brushing the windows on 3, 4 story buildings. And they use filtered pure water systems with deionized water and reverse osmosis and that kind of thing. And there's all, you got electric rules, you got, working around power lines, lift inspections that are supposed to be done, daily. Just a lot, even our, harnesses and our equipment, all goes through documented daily inspections.
Amazing.
wow, I have a question. Who does your windows at your house? I'm gonna guess it's not you.
No, I do. I'm kind of a freak that way. I have to have really clean windows. I'm not like the mechanic that you find his road, car on the side of the road dead. I'm the guy where you don't even know the windows are there.
Love it.
Yeah.
Well, I thought he would say, not me. That's what I would say. Because I
So
don't do
Mark,
windows either.
you started out as an entrepreneur, right? First time out, business failed, but you went right back at it. Where's the grit come from?
Well, my first business was a learning experience for sure. And when I was done, I owed Uncle Sam a total lot of money. So then I went back to work for my previous employer, and that just wasn't going to work anymore. So then I went out and, did my own thing again and picked up some of my old customers. And, I started as just me and ended up at one point having like 22 employees and washing windows like a wild man.
I love it.
I love these stories, Susan. I mean, everyone's got the history. We all get a chance to learn from it. Mark, thanks so much. Anything else you want to share with the crowd?
Um, yeah, well, just know who to call if you got dirty windows. And I tell you what, when you think about it, over my years, the satisfaction that I get from doing, cleaning windows is just awesome. You walk up to a building and it's dirty and dingy, and when you drive away, after it's completed, it's just like a whole new, you can really tell a big difference.
So
It's shiny.
I just
Shiny
read an
object.
article about the number of bird building collisions. Does that impact you guys, or
Well, other than cleaning up the carcasses off from the windowsills, we find a lot of remnants of pigeons from, where the falcons have grabbed them and
Oh,
grab them and
yeah.
sit on a windowsill and eat them. And yeah, it's not a big thing, but not really sure if it's a bigger problem in Detroit or not. You guys probably would know. I know Grand Rapids didn't have a huge population of pigeons, but they had a big population of falcons.
Yeah, yeah. Well, we have a newer member coming on board. We'll probably have them on BOMA Talk somewhere in the future, but their industry is in the glass film to avoid the
Okay.
bird wash. So it's fascinating. Every asset of commercial real estate is absolutely fascinating to me. Mark, thanks so much for being with us.
Well, thank you for the time. I appreciate it. And, like I said, you know who to call.
We'll see
It's
you
not
at
Ghostbusters.
and we're going to see you at Pull for BOMA at the Clay Shoot tournament.
Oh, for sure. That was such a great event. That was my first experience with BOMA in Detroit, and yeah, I did pretty good for shooting at them clays. So this year we're
32
going to
out of
have a
50,
booth
I
I probably
believe.
won't shoot.
Yeah, I mean, you were
Pardon?
32 out of 50, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
That's not bad.
Fantastic. Well, I'm looking forward to seeing you soon.
All right.
right.
Thank you very
So
much.
thanks,
Thanks,
Mark.
Mark.
So as we transition to our next guest, oh, yeah. So we've got some education courses going on through our partners. That is Building Owners Managers Institute. Actually, next week, the Design, Operation, and Maintenance of Building Systems Part 1 is taking place. But on October 23, 24, 25, it's a three-day crash course, Design, Operation, and Maintenance of Building Systems Part 2 will be taking place. Registration is open. Check it out at bomadet.org.
Sounds great. And for our final guest, or I should say guest, we would
Plural,
like to, pardon me?
plural.
Plural, too. We're going to twofer here. We would like to welcome our newest members, Jeremy Locklear and Andy Keller with Kings 3. So hello, Jeremy and Andy, and welcome to BOMA Talks.
Good afternoon. Thank you.
Good afternoon. Hi, Susan.
So this is a little different. We have both of you. So we would like to know what exactly is Kings 3 and do you wear crowns? That's what I want to know.
I'll start off and tell a little bit about Kings 3, and then I want to hand the floor over to Jeremy since he is the true member for BOMA Detroit as the local business
Okay.
development manager. So you'll see him a lot more than me, which is probably a good thing since the joke Jeremy and I have is we have faces for radio. So he said he broke that out, and I've never forgot that. Kings 3 Emergency Communications, been around over 35 years. We specialize in monitoring and emergency calls, elevators, pool phones, help phones, area refuge phones, you name it. And we are very committed to BOMA. So I guess we get to wear a crown because everywhere we go, we join. When we put a local business development manager in a market, we join, and we like to the exhibits, we like the shows, we like the events, we like the networking. I actually live in Indiana, and I'm very active. I love going to the networking events and all the things that I can go to, and I'll go to all of them in Minnesota or Detroit or whatever we can. We've recently launched into Canada. I think, when we had lunch with Rick, I talked about, we actually are BOMA International, very big supporters. If you went to BOMA International, all our executive team was there. Our CRO, our VPs and all that, they held events. I think they had a social event one night and that. So that's just kind of our MO has always been that when we're going into a market, especially to make the commitment to put a person like Jeremy in there, BOMA is one of the first places we go.
Love it. Love it. So Canada as well. So,
Yeah, we launched Toronto this year. Yes.
oh, Toronto, we need to
Mhm.
check it out. Need to check it out. Um,
Cool place.
it's, I haven't been there in so long, but I loved it last time, decades ago. So with the, you mentioned it, the company's been around more than 30 years, correct?
35 over 35 now.
Over
Yep.
35 years, so communication. So I know that we had a quick conversation prior to, and doing the Toby judging. My thing was I would go in the elevator, open up the box, and make sure the phone worked. That because we check everything. That was my one thing. Oh,
Sure.
is the phone gonna work?
Sure.
Because I don't want to get stuck in an elevator with no working phone. So how has that changed, or has it changed from the good old days of, picking up the phone and calling? Is there anything different that's happened since
There's
the Yellow Pages days?
Oh yeah, yeah. Yellow Pages. When somebody mentioned that earlier before, I was like, oh my gosh, I actually remember carrying one of those in my car when I was in outside sales to look up
I remember,
addresses and phone
I remember
numbers to
sitting
call
on
them,
them.
right?
Yep,
Um,
yep.
there have been a lot of recent changes. Most of it is code driven for safety as we keep evolving, but I think the landline replacement has become a very big theme. We eliminate, so part of our, when we talk to a building owner, we want to help them reduce their risks. We want to limit their liabilities. And obviously expenses, capital expenses, and just making it, saving cost savings potentially. We're seeing that most of those phone lines, that's old copper network that Bell put in the ground over 70 years ago, and and the FCC has now allowed carriers like AT&T and Frontier and these guys to start sunsetting that network, so it's going away. Um, Ours replaces that. People are also seeing this potential cost savings because we're seeing some of these phone bills $100, $200 a line per month, and we're nowhere near that. So they'll see the cost savings. Our product is a lifetime warranty on it. So we stand behind our equipment. You don't have to worry about phones and lights and elevators aren't normally covered in warranties because those are things that break. And building owners find that when they have to have that elevator company come back out to repair that phone, that's talking about $3,000 to $5,000 potentially. Well, if that's not budgeted because we didn't expect it to break, then that's a problem, right, for your budget. So we stand behind ours. It doesn't matter if it's 10 days or 10 years. Your phone needs repaired or replaced. We're going to roll a truck for free and lifetime warranty.
Okay, so great. Here's my question.
Mhm.
They're paying that much money per month just for the
Dial tone.
phone. That's
Yep,
it.
just dial tone.
So I may never need it, but wow. Wow, I had no idea, to be
Yeah.
honest with you. And then when you multiply that times how many elevators you have in a building, which could be, depending on the size of the building, 6, 10, 12, that's a
Mhm.
lot of money for a phone that
It
may
is a
not
lot of
work.
money. It's
Yeah,
just, I think it falls into that. It's just the way it always is set up. So when they put a phone line into an elevator 20 years ago, no one's thought about it. And now the bill keeps going up and up. They're raising it because they really want you to go away. They want to sunset that network. Now it's kind of come to the forefront from a technology and a cost for building owners.
so my question is, is it just the phone lines, or how nowadays some elevators have the emergency call button? Would that be the
Mhm.
same?
Mhm.
Or
That's
is it,
us.
it's
Yeah.
you, okay,
Yeah. When you push the
okay.
button, we'll answer usually within 7 seconds is our average. The real heartbeat of our company is our emergency dispatch center. It's 24/7, 365. It's best in class. I mean, I say no one does what we do better in the country. We're the leader of that technology, and those people are really, they answer thousands of calls, and they're medical emergency, CPR. I mean, they're all trained and professionals on that. They just do an outstanding job of taking care of customers because seconds matter when somebody's having an emergency, especially a medical emergency. Even being just trapped in an elevator can be very, very stressful on people, right? I mean, either claustrophobic or there's people. So the ability for us just to handle that, dispatch timely, and get them the help and support, um, it can save lives.
Yes, you don't want to see me in an elevator more than any longer than I have to be. Rick knows, Rick, you know, I mean, you saw me on the roof. I didn't even go like near it. I like clung to the wall. So yeah, heights and I'm claustrophobic. Yeah, no, thank you. So, um, Jeremy, how
Yeah.
long have you been with the company?
So I'm brand new to Kings 3. I started in June when we have been available in the Detroit area, but we never had actual boots on the ground representative in the Detroit
Okay.
area. And they decided to make that move. So I had worked with, I've been in telecom most of my career, and I had worked with Andy previously at another uh, company. And when they decided to roll out, um, boots on the ground, put a BDM in Michigan, he reached out to me. I did some research on both the company and the products, the clientele, and it seemed like a really good fit. And it was a good opportunity to having a background in telecom. The skill set still applies, so we're talking about a lot of people as these services sunset that are either using a POTS line or a VoIP solution, and I could still speak to those with some experience. But it was also exciting to try something that's a little bit different and new. So those things combined together led me to making the decision to move over to Kings 3. So I've only been here for a few months, just started in June. I'm new to Kings 3 as well as BOMA, and but I'm very excited about both opportunities.
No, that's fabulous. Okay, so I have one question. You mentioned that everything's moving over now to the phone carriers. So my question, and I have been noticing lately that when I'm driving and it just kind of clicked in my head that sometimes my cell service is starting to drop more. Um, does that affect, I guess, which location, which carriers you use? Do you get, as the company get to decide on which carriers are best for that area? Or is
Absolutely.
it, okay,
Yeah.
because,
Yeah, that's a great question, Susan. So what we're able to do is we actually work with all the cell companies. So that is actually in addition to the monitoring, like Andy mentioned, our in-house monitoring team is the backbone of our business. But we also want to make sure you can't get to that dispatch center if you don't have a reliable phone network. So
right,
when we set up our service, that's one of the first things our installers will do, and we have really good technicians that have a ton of experience in the elevator business. And that's one of the things they do is when they get out there, they find out which cell provider, and especially in the Metro Detroit area, we know square footage wise, it spreads out so far. So there could be certain areas where Verizon's the way to go and another one where maybe Sprint is. So that's one of the first things we do is we check who has the best service that's going to work in that area. And that's the option that we go with. So we're not committed to any one cell provider because of that reason, because reliability is key to actually helping these property managers and building owners when we talk about reducing risk and reducing liability. That's a key part of that is making sure that the service is reliable.
yeah, there was always the fear when should I get rid of the landline? Should I not? We're going to use the cell phone. And then all of a sudden you like cut the cord finally, no pun intended. And I went, oh my God, all I have is my cell phone now. I mean, for all those years you've had that landline, it was like a lifeline. And now it's like, it's based off of a cell phone and you're hoping that you get the service. So, I mean, I know for a fact that Rick, when I do my judging, I'm going to be pushing those buttons and picking up and I'm going to see which ones work and which don't, because there were some, and honestly, that don't work. And it's something that you don't think about until you need it. It's one of those. And I just love, I'll do it. I hate to say this, but when I'm in a building, I don't want to freak anybody out, but I'll like just, kind of see if it works, put it back in. People look at me like I'm crazy, but it's one of those things. If you don't know, it doesn't work until you try it or you need it. So,
Right. Yeah.
So
I never pushed an elevator button in my life until I joined Kings 3 about a year ago. And I was almost 30 years in telecom. I always assumed that was like pulling the fire alarm. I was going to get in trouble if somebody,
yeah,
and now my son laughs at me and says, you cannot help yourself, can you? Because I push every elevator button I get in now because I just want to see how fast they answer. And if they do answer, if it works, I've walked out of elevators and literally told people that elevator would fail inspection.
Yeah. And
Just to help them,
if,
right? And I can help you, but I just want to let you know you got a problem. Because if we had been trouble, that didn't work. I never got anybody, you know, whatever. So
and you do know everybody on this call right now, or this, you know, our BOMA talks and watching it is now going to start pushing buttons in elevators. We started something because they know that when they get in the elevator, they're going to go, wow, I wonder if that works or not. Let me test it. And that's, you know, again, it's, you know, it's like driving a car. You don't know if you have a nail in the tire until the tire goes flat and it's too late, and you should be checking your tires before you leave. But
to your
I
point, to your point, Jeremy and I were in Detroit, and we actually were talking to a customer and said, "Let's try your emergency button." We opened the thing, and it doesn't work. It didn't dial. It didn't have dial tone. Didn't hear anything, and it just didn't work. And it was kind of like, that's a problem, you know. So, I suggest everybody always does that.
You're gonna start like this TikTok thing now. People are gonna go around pushing buttons. This big, what is it, TikTok, whatever rage? People pushing buttons.
I'm not on TikTok, so they can't tag me for that.
Neither am I.
If there's one thing I think of when I think of Andy, it's TikTok content creation. He's
Yeah, I don't even know what that means.
Yeah, I mean, I have to tell you, I am extremely thankful to know this is what you do. Again, I'm one of those that have a fear of being stuck in an elevator, especially those elevators when you get in and you don't know that they're moving, but you think they're moving and you're not quite sure, and all of a sudden the door opens. I don't want to get caught in one that doesn't open. You know, you don't even want to be in one with me. But again, I did not know. I mean, I learned something today. I learned that there is, you know, different ways. I mean, everything has kind of moved forward in its projection on what it's doing. I think it's a fabulous idea. I know I'm going to start telling people to start checking elevators when they get in there. And now is King Street I mean, across the country, certain states or across the country?
Yep.
Okay.
It's nationwide, and we're now
Nationwide?
into Canada. So that's
Okay,
why
right.
we're considered BOMA International members.
Okay, perfect. My son lives in Manhattan on the 20th floor. I'm going to tell him to go ahead and push that button. Yeah.
We have a rep in Manhattan. We can take care of him.
Come on. Can you imagine getting stuck on the 20th floor? I mean, I couldn't, but this is great information, and you two are fabulous together. You should just keep this duo going. It's wonderful.
I brought him here for a reason.
Jeremy and Andy Roadshow.
Yeah,
that's a great road show. I love it. I love it. Well, I want to thank both of you for joining us today. It was an absolute pleasure meeting you, knowing that you can quote unquote push someone's buttons. And there's a little slogan there. And look forward to meeting you at events, like the ones we have coming up. So thank you again for joining us.
Yeah, we'll see them September 23 at the Autumn Open Golf Outing, as they will be sponsoring the hole. So thanks again, guys, for all of your support at BOMA. We'll be seeing you real soon.
We
Thanks for
appreciate
having
it.
us.
Thanks so
Excited
much.
to see you there.
Sounds great. Well, this has come to an end, our BOMA Talk hour. So we would like to thank all of our BOMA Talks guests for giving us insights on their company. And it was an absolute pleasure getting to know everyone during this hour. A recording of this month's BOMA Talks will be available in our newsletter and on our website. And we hope that you have learned as much as we did from our speakers today. So one again, here we go. Once again, I would like to thank Joe Mifsud. Did I say it right? Mifsud? Yes, yay, with Oxford.
You got it.
Yay. Marion Dieters with Metro Signs and Lighting. It's you, Rick.
All right. And Mark Reinhardt from S&K Building Services.
That's you, Rick.
Yeah. I'll wait for Mark to show up. We'll go on. And again, we just had Andy Keller and Jeremy Locklear with Kings 3. Thank you, everybody, for being here today on BOMA Talks. We look forward to our next BOMA Talks in September. I'm Rick Troy, your Executive Director.
And I'm Susan Light. Normally we would say Star and I are known as Team Starlight. She will be back with me next month. So thank you for joining us, everybody. Have a fabulous day, and we'll see you in September. Have a great day.